way we grow and produce food is ever-changing, shaped by consumers and the climate in which we live and farm. Research at all points of our food system is essential for continuously improving food's journey from farm to table. The Manitoba Agriculture and Food Knowledge Exchange explores timely research innovations and applications that make our food system better than ever. Join us for today's podcast.
Hello and welcome. This is ChangeMAKErs, a Manitoba Agriculture and Food Knowledge Exchange, otherwise known as MAKE, podcast series with me, Chantal Bassett. In each episode, we'll chat with an academic member of the Faculty of Agricultural and Food Sciences at the University of Manitoba to find out about the research and innovation they're working on and how this is shaping agriculture and food production in Manitoba and around the world. Now, as the research facilitator for the faculty, I get to work with all our incredible innovators, and I think it's high time for you to also get to discover their research, as well as get to know the person behind these discoveries. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Cristina Rosell, professor and department head in the Department of Food and Human Nutritional Sciences. Thanks for joining me, Cristina.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Before we get into the details about what you study, Cristina, can you share how you got to where you are today?
It has not been a straight way, so I think it's a wonderful question because it makes me think I did so many different things. Let me start from the beginning. So I studied pharmacy. It's a very different thing that the one I am doing just today. Then, just by chance, I started in research doing my PhD, and the PhD was in the Institute of Catalysis and Petrochemistry in Spain. And the thesis was related to the use of enzymes, particularly penicillin acylase. So it was for making or producing antibiotics. And then during that time, I made different stays, internships in Italy, in Ireland. And then during my postdoc, I moved to the use of enzymes in process engineering, more for helping the catalysis of low water content systems. So that was a move from my previous research. And then during, I did a second postdoc, but back in Spain. It was my first touch with food. So, but at that time was meat. So I work with dry cure meat. So the ham that is very popular in Spain. Understanding the role of enzymes, but in this case was not exogenous enzymes, but more the enzymes that was in the muscle and the role of the enzymes in dry curing. And then that was in the Institute of Agrochemistry and Food Technology in Spain, that belongs to the Spanish Research Council. And then I got my tenure position, and it was in cereals and grains. So that was 25 years ago. So, and that was when I started with cereals and grains. As you can see, many different experience, and I'm always trying to be very positive. So I think all of those experiences have shaped me and the knowledge and the expertise that I have. And so 25 years ago, I started with cereals and grains, and I have to train myself in a different topic. At the beginning, I tried to learn as much as possible about cereals because it was a different commodity. So starting with wheat, trying to understand wheat from the physicochemical point of view, learning all the classical methodologies about rheology, also about chemistry, applying advanced technologies like HPLC, GC, electrophoresis, capillary electrophoresis. Maybe now those are not advanced techniques anymore, but I'm talking about 25 years ago. So, and also microstructure using microtomography. So I learned many different things and I try to, at the same time, apply all of them in the bread making process, helping industry and also trying to give responses to some challenge that there was at that moment. Like one example was at the very beginning, it was one pest that was very common in Spain that was attacking wheat and decreasing the quality of wheat. I tried to understand first what was happening. And it was related to the enzymes. So that was great because I love working with enzymes and I'm using them as much as possible. I learned all of that, and also that that insect was weakening the gluten quality. And after understanding that, I tried to find the different alternatives or tools that could recover, at least partially recover, the quality of the wheat using different enzymes or modifying the bread making process. I think that was really, really useful because it allows me understand how to work with very poor quality gluten. Probably that was the beginning of my research line about gluten-free. That was wonderful.
Yeah. And, we have to tell our listeners that not only are we thrilled to have you at the University of Manitoba, but because you are the world's most prolific and most highly cited author in gluten development. This is according to SciVal, an internationally recognized research metrics database. And you have an H index of 69, indicating that more than 69 of your publications have been cited at least 69 times. Now that's impressive.
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing out that. But that makes me feel old. And yes, because it seems like, I never have the feeling that I made so many things, and only when I have the opportunity to sit down to talk to somebody is when I am really thinking about all the research that I have done. Sometimes I cannot believe that those were the programs that I participated or the research that I have done or the contributions. So I like the thing that I am doing. I love research. And I am always really enthusiastic and passionate about the research, starting new things, learning new techniques. So, yeah, I think it's a wonderful profession for.
In terms of starting new things, moving to Canada, to Winnipeg, across, the prairies, obviously wheat, as well as other cereal grains are of great importance here. Was that part of the draw, or at least it was a great benefit to lead a cereal-based research program in the heart of the prairies?
Yeah, I think that was the driving force for me to come here. I was looking for a new challenge, and Manitoba have been one of my reference points when I was working with cereals, because Manitoba wheat is the highest quality wheat in the world. For me, it was a reference, and also because very big names have been working here. So, and they have been my reference when I started to work with cereals. It was like a dream to have this opportunity. I've been working with, after starting with wheat, I've been working with many different commodities, cereals, legumes, and many other type of commodities. I like to say that we can work with any material, any source. We can obtain flour or powder, and we can use it for making food. I used all those commodities and implemented them for obtaining bakery products, bread. But then when I came here, I thought that it was the opportunity to return to wheat. And also because I have been always resilient. I can adapt to any, I think, research program. In the Department of Food and Human Nutritional Science, there are wonderful people that is working with cereals, with legumes, with proteins, in nutrition, in chemistry, in non-food applications. So I look for where was the gap in which I can focus my research program based on my expertise and knowledge. And just now there was not too much research about wheat. So I thought, okay, being one of the most important places in wheat, considering production and also processing. So why not? So I started to explore what was interesting for the industry and also for consumers. I tried to define a research program that is connecting wheat grains, the quality of the wheat grains from the very beginning till the end, developing healthy breads, particularly for those people that have diabetes, pre-diabetes, or for all consumers that are looking for low glycemic index bread. I try to connect all of those. It was wonderful because the bridge between the kernels and the bread have been the alpha amylase, that is one of the most important enzymes in the wheat quality. As I mentioned before, I like to work with enzymes, and amylase is one of the most useful ones in wheat quality, in bread making, and also in starch digestibility that is related to diabetes particularly.
Yeah. So can you help our listeners understand a bit more about the enzymatic process within grains? Like, is the enzyme present within the grain itself, or is it added during the processing?
Okay, it's a wonderful question. So it could be both ways. The amylase and specifically the alpha amylase is in the wheat kernels. You need the right amount of alpha amylase to have a very good quality in bread making. But if you have an excess of amylase, you have low quality flour, wheat flour, and the breads are going to be, even the dough is going to be very, very sticky. You are not going to get good bread. You have, sometimes you have high amylase activity, and that occurs when you have germinated wheat or sprouted wheat, or there are some pathology called late maturity amylase that is related to it's a genetic pathology. So in those cases, you have high amylase activity. And considering the climate change that we are having now, is we cannot predict how the wheat crop is going to be, how is going to be the quality, because sometimes you have rains before harvest, so you can have very high amylase activity that is going to downgrade the wheat. It's very important to identify those at a very early stage, and also to have the right tools to add value to those wheats. Because just now they could be blended with some wheat, or if the amylase activity is really, really high, they have to be used for different purposes and not bread making. We want to develop rapid techniques for detect those wheats, but also develop different applications, and also even for bread making, to define tools that allows us to use that type of wheats. And the second part of this picture is from the bread making to consumers. It's very important starch digestibility, and the alpha amylase is the main player in starch digestibility. We have it in the wheat. We are using that enzyme in bread making. So sometimes if you don't have enough amount of alpha amylase, you can add it. So it can be used as an additive for the bread making process. But then is the enzyme that is going to determine the degree of hydrolysis of the starch. We need it for the bread making because it's using the sugars. We want very aerated breads with high volume. When we have the bread, the state of the starch in the bread is also very important because when we are eating the bread, is the hydrolysis of the starch is the one that is going to determine glycemic, the glucose level in our blood, and that is related to the diabetes. So it's like we are going, it's a very nice project because we can work from breeders to consumers. So, and we are going to see the impact of wheat quality on the health of consumers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of, and I could see how the enzymes, like what you were explaining, was that they're so critical, not only for some of the functionality, making if the bread is going to be super dense or very sticky and therefore not bread, but really, and to the point where that enzyme is critical. You can't just not have it because it helps break down the starch so that the yeast have some sugar, but also, there needs to be some natural sugars in breads, but to a certain extent, we want to control that, especially for people with diabetes. And so that's great that you're, trying to develop some novel approaches and some tools to develop, innovative bakery products that could be useful for all, because we're not all consuming the same types of breads. Can you tell me a bit more about so we talked about enzymes, but I think that you're working on other, using some co-products so are you incorporating some healthy ingredients in breads? And I know that, you can't just boost up, entirely all the fiber because then nobody's going to want to eat it. So what are you doing to make breads healthier?
That is also a very good question because we are working with wheat, but also there is a lot of interest in proteins, and we have plenty of commodities in which we are extracting the proteins, but we also have co-products after protein extraction, and the main co-products are starch and fibers. I've been working with both. About the starch, I have had a long research about because starch is very important for gluten-free products. So that is one of the research programs that I started many years ago. And the other part is the fibers. But as you mentioned, people doesn't like to eat fibers. And also from the technological point of view, they are really not very desirable materials to make bread because the quality of the bread is decreasing and the functionality and technological properties of the dough. We have been working trying to modify that fiber, even from rice. We have been working in bran from rice, but also in some other commodities. Not when we are talking about fiber, it's like a big pool. But there are plenty of different compounds, polymers that are fitting within the concept of fiber. And not all of them have the same functionality. So we have insoluble fiber and we have soluble fiber. And the functionality is completely different. The insoluble fiber is, from the technological point of view, we are trying to get rid of that, or at least decreasing. But from the healthy point of view, is the one that have intestinal functionality and is required for healthy purposes. But also the soluble fiber is very important because it's the one that can help lowering the cholesterol level. So that is very important from the health point of view. But from the technological point of view, also is very important because it has high water absorption. It helps us in making the bread properties of the dough, the extensibility. In the case of gluten-free bread, it's even more important because it contributes a lot to the viscosity and the elasticity of the dough. So we can work with that, making extensible doughs and extensible bakery products. We are working, but we don't have always the right amount of insoluble and soluble fiber. So we are working with physical treatments and also with enzymatic treatments. In regarding physical treatments, we have been working trying to modulate the particle size distribution with very intense milling. Also, we have been applying high pressure, high hydrostatic pressure. Those are one of the techniques that we have been using apart from thermal treatments. About enzymes, I've been working with plenty of those, with carbohydrates, with silanases, with cellulases. So there are many of different enzymes that can hydrolyze fibers, but it is very important to know which fibers do we have, because otherwise we can use enzymes but not the proper ones. We need to understand what do we have in our hands, and then we can apply the tools that we know could work, trying to modify that balance, and with that we can work and we can integrate those fibers in our case in breads, obtaining bread with a high fiber content, but also that they are appealing, because otherwise we can have high fiber breads but nobody wants to eat them.
It's
a challenge.
I don't know if you knew, but I consume gluten-free products. That's I do not digest gluten. And I get that there are some products that I've learned, purchased, and currently stay away from. But also just kind of like anybody who's even eating, regular bread, there's the people that want to seek out hearty bread, a denser bread, a lighter bread. So there's a need for some variety. And so I'm assuming that, that are some of the things that you're working on. But in terms of, I want to know more about kind of your work with industry, and perhaps, because it's not just creating one recipe, because you said that, climate change is having an impact on the wheat itself. So it's not just creating an ultimate blend or an ultimate recipe, right? It's always continuously adapting.
Yes, and I think I choose the right food for working, because there are thousands of different types of breads, because around the world we have plenty of specialities. And also, as you mentioned, not all consumers are looking for the same type of bread. Apart from all those consumers that, because of pathologies or any other decision, they are eating gluten-free. We have a food that we can make many different things. One of them is more focused about industry, because they are demanding to improve processes or to use different commodities that have been to integrate in the production that they have. And we are seeing that now that they are incorporating, apart from wheat, we have other cereals, oats, rye, corn, rice, and also pseudo cereals, quinoa, amaranth. So that is giving us plenty of possibilities of obtaining different type of bread, but that doesn't mean that the industry can just blend it and put it into the process and obtain the same quality of bread. Each material has their own requirements, so you have to optimize the process for when you are making even a very small change in the recipe or in the process. And then the other part of this picture is consumers, and consumers are changing they like to be probably surprised with new products, thinking about some consumers are looking for healthy products, some others like new tastes or flavors or new appearance or a different type of breads. We are working with flatbreads, we are working with fermented bread, with sourdough breads, and those are giving completely different texture, flavors, taste. We have the tools, we have the experience. So, yeah, industry and consumers, those are our big targets. And we can have the knowledge, but we need to give a response to one and the other. And that is, I always think that it's very important for researchers that we look around. We have to know the reality. And now is the driving forces in research is sustainability, also health concept. And with one and the other, we have to work, trying to solve the challenge for the industry and also for consumers within those pillars in research. Because of that, in our research program is not only based on scientific concepts. Always we have to know the state of the art, of course, but also knowing the market. In our research, we are always incorporating how is the market every moment. So before starting any research program or any research project, we are checking the grocery stores, we are checking small shops, and not only in the place where we are, because we are working in a global world. So we are checking groceries in the website all over the world. So we can have a very good idea about what is going on, what is needed, where the gaps are, and then we define the research that can fill those gaps.
So, Cristina, you touched on sustainability, and you also touched on how manufacturers or processors are really looking to researchers such as yourself to help improve their processes and help improve their end products. But can you relate to kind of how, and you talked about co-product utilization. I'm assuming like these co-products, normally grain is, or anything, even a protein, plant protein is being extracted. I'm assuming that that's the products that you're referring to, and they'd otherwise go to waste. So we're trying to find a way to incorporate them into new products?
Yes, it's not, they could be waste, but also they could be used for feeding or for some other applications.
Oh, so a lower value.
Yes.
Okay.
So always low value products are, cheaper or not as profitable for the industry as high added value products. So we are trying to use, now they are underutilized. We are trying to find new applications for the fiber co-product and also for the starch one. Starch has now many applications for, for making syrups, for as gelling, and it has plenty of applications. But even in the pharmaceutical companies and cosmetics and so on. But we want to develop completely different, not completely different, but some other applications. So we have been working, I think we started 10 years ago, working with starch from different sources, because not all when we talk about the starch, it's not all the starch from different sources is the same. They have completely different functionality and technological properties. So we have been working with starches from rice, corn, wheat, potato, beans, and other different tubers, and treating those starches with different enzymes. We got porous starches. and the name is explaining what are they. Those are starch granules with plenty of pores, and you can use that type of starch as absorbent for food applications, but also for pharmaceutical ones and cosmetic, because you can absorb in those granules different materials. And we have used one example that we have developed is to develop probiotics. So we absorb one lactobacillus in the starch. We tested that in rice starch and also corn starch, and we increased the stability of the microbe or when we absorb it in the starch granules. So that was one of the applications that we developed. And also this type of treatment, enzymatic treatment of the starch, we saw that we develop porous starch when we treat starch with enzymes, granular starch. We also saw that after gelatinization of those porous starches, we can get networks with completely different properties. We can modulate the properties of the gels, also working with enzymatic pretreatments. That was one of the examples that we have used in the case of starch. And in the case of the fibers, we are going to explore much more. Now we have plenty of different physical treatments. We can work not only in my lab, but also in other labs in the department. So we can work with extrusion, we can work with cold plasma, with Dr. Kossel, with Dr. Bandara, many other applications. We are going to start also to work with solid state fermentation, and it's a different way to modify the properties of this material. So yeah, it's a very exciting future.
Yeah, continuously innovating. I'm interested to see what products. It's almost too bad that though a company will go ahead and cite your work, as a consumer, you don't get to see your name on a package.
Yes. Yeah, we tried when we started with gluten-free, and also we developed a low-calorie blend. So at that moment, one of them was patent, and we started to explore the possibility to translate the knowledge and also to see, that product in the market. But it was really difficult to put the product in the market, and also the main difficulty was to convince a company about developing the product and putting the product in the market. So those innovations have not been directly to the market, but we are really pleased that those have been the starting point for the companies, and they have been implementing those in a different way, but those have been translated to the industry.
Yeah. Well, no, we have evidence that many of our researchers, including yourself, companies are citing your work in their patent applications, but it doesn't mean that, you said that it can serve as a basis. And it's hard to see because foods or even bread products are very complex, organisms in terms of it's really hard to see where a certain research program would have influenced an end product. But you're right, it's all of this information is of value to industry, to consumers, so that we have options.
Yeah. Yes, and we are really happy that I am really happy that we are putting our seed, in improving things for the industries and also for the consumers, offering different type of products.
Yeah. So Cristina, you recently secured some new infrastructure through the Canada Foundation for Innovation. And so tell me a bit more about what this equipment does and what you're hoping to do in the next years.
Okay, that is going to help us a lot, and not only my research program, but also the research in the Department of Food and Human Nutritional Science is going to complement the facilities that we already have in the department. Is going to extend our capacities in rheology. Having these equipment is going to allow us understand better starch and also protein materials, and it's going to allow us also to work with fiber. So the focus is for them is co-products. That was the focus in this grant. It's going to give us facilities that allows us to work close to the industry, because some of them are portable devices and some others are for increasing our capacities in rheology.
So, Cristina, you've told me a lot about your research program, and also how others are using this research. But you're not working in silo. You're working with researchers from around the world in terms of, and you're working on cereal grains that are not necessarily grown in Manitoba. How is the internationalization of research important to all?
I think it's really, really important. It's crucial. So I think teamwork is very important. And because we are living in a global world, we have to join efforts if we want to move forward faster. I realized about this concept of collaboration at the very beginning when I started in research, because I thought that I could not really go further in research if I was working alone. I started collaborating with researchers from India, from China, from South America, from Africa, from US, and also from Europe, of course. So I started with some of those continents and countries. I started to work with them because they have plenty of different commodities, plenty of different materials that we don't have it in our places. It was the way to innovate with new different materials. I base my collaborations internships. I always push or motivate my students to do internships in different places, because it's a way to connect with some other groups and also for them to learn different things apart from the experience that they can have and grow at personal level. But also I have be an example for them, because every 3-4 years I have been doing internships in different places. I have been invited research in different groups. I think that part also allowed me to have a great network. I think I met wonderful people, and I'm still working and collaborating with them. I think we can make good research complementing each other. So that is the way that I try to base my research, with wonderful collaborations around the world.
And I can see how that relates to sustainability. Not one single researcher is ever going to solve the many challenges of climate change.
Yeah, and also in some countries it's very important sustainability, because we know that wheat is the basis for bakery products, but in some countries they have to import wheat because they don't have this cereal. So I try to work with them looking around for the commodities that they have. In some places it could be other cereals like rice, in some others were pseudo cereals. So I've been working with them trying to understand those commodities, integrating those, replacing with. So it could be, their process for their bread making process could be more sustainable for the country, giving, providing food to all consumers, whatever their level, their economical level was.
So, Cristina, I know that you work very long hours. We appreciate it in terms of, and you're continuously innovating here in Manitoba and around the world. But why don't you let us know a bit more about what you do during your off hours? What makes you tick?
Probably that is the most difficult question that you have made in this interview. So I use long hours working, but when I am not working, I like to enjoy with my family and with friends. So we like to have people at home, enjoy with them. So that is the most relaxing time. And of course, I like to go with my family traveling. So we like to explore new things, new places. So that is how I feel my free time.
Yeah. In terms of travel, what's on the wish list for the next few years?
We would like to know Canada better.
Okay, yeah.
So the north part of Canada, because we have been to the east a little bit, to the west, till Vancouver and Banff. But we don't know anything about the north part, so we would like to explore, and we enjoy nature. So we would like to know, this is a big, big country. For us, it's like we have plenty of options now. So it's just the way that we have to plan that, because we would like to go with the whole family, and it's difficult to organize because they are not kids anymore.
Okay.
So it is very difficult to organize and to plan those kind of trips.
Okay. Well, I hope that you get to go and carve out the time to go on some adventures, because it's important, and Canada as well. It's certainly worth exploring.
Yes, for sure. And we are still waiting that some friends from Spain are coming to visit us. So we are expecting that in the next few years we are going to have plenty of visits. So that is the other thing that we are looking forward.
So, Cristina, you've talked about, your collaborators, but a lot of your day-to-day collaborations is within your own research group. Can you tell me a bit more about who works with you?
Yeah, of course. I think they are the most important persons in the research program, because just now I have one lab in Spain and the lab here in Manitoba, in Winnipeg. So, and I have wonderful people. I have a postdoc that is Dr. Garzon, that is managing the lab in Spain, and I have students there, but she is my right hand. And here I have my team with Dr. Gaspare, that is my postdoctoral fellow, and he's managing, I can say that he's my left hand. And I have in both labs, I have wonderful students, PhD, master students, and they are the real players in this picture.
Thank you very much for chatting with me. So this has been Dr. Chantal Bassett, joined by Dr. Cristina Rosell, a professor in the Department of Food and Human Nutritional Sciences at the University of Manitoba. And that's it for today's episode of ChangeMAKErs, the Faculty of Agricultural and Food Sciences Research and Innovation podcast. Join me in future episodes to hear about other fascinating research being led by agricultural and agri-food innovators at the University of Manitoba.